Are you ready to hear the latest shocking news from China? In a move that has sent shockwaves around the world, Chinese officials have issued a final warning that has left many questioning what the future holds. What could this warning mean for China, and how will it impact the rest of the world? Get ready to uncover the truth and brace yourself for what could be the biggest announcement of the year. Stay tuned for more details in this must-see video. The Gobi Desert is a vast, arid region that stretches across northern and northwestern China, covering an area of 500,000 square miles. Despite its harsh climate and rugged terrain, the Gobi Desert holds immense strategic, economic, and ecological significance for China. In this essay, we will explore why the Gobi Desert is important for China. Strategic importance. The Gobi Desert is situated on the border between China and Mongolia, and it is an essential part of China's strategic defense system. The Chinese government has established several military bases and missile ranges in the region, which serves as a deterrent against potential adversaries. The Gobi Desert provides a natural barrier against enemy forces and serves as a buffer zone that protects China's northern borders. Additionally, the region's vast expanse provides ample space for China's military to conduct training exercises and test new weapon systems. Economic importance. The Gobi Desert is also an essential economic asset for China. Despite its harsh climate and rugged terrain, the region is rich in mineral resources such as coal, oil, gas, and rare earth minerals. These resources are crucial for China's rapidly growing economy, which has become one of the world's largest consumers of natural resources. The Gobi Desert's strategic location also makes it an important transit hub for China's Belt and Road Initiative, a massive infrastructure project aimed at expanding China's trade and economic influence across Asia, Europe, and Africa. Several highways and railways run through the Gobi Desert, connecting China's inland regions with its coastal cities and ports. Ecological importance. The Gobi Desert is home to several endangered species of plants and animals, including the Bactrian camel, the snow leopard, and the Gobi bear. The region's unique ecology also supports the livelihoods of local communities, who rely on the desert's scarce water resources and grazing lands for their livestock. In recent years, China has taken steps to protect the Gobi Desert's fragile ecosystem by establishing several nature reserves and conservation areas. These efforts have helped to preserve the region's biodiversity and promote sustainable development in the area. Cultural importance. The Gobi Desert also holds significant cultural and historical importance for China. The region is home to several ancient Silk Road trade routes, which played a crucial role in connecting China with the rest of the world. The Gobi Desert is also home to several ancient sites, including the Mogeo Caves, a UNESCO World Heritage Site that contains over 1,000 ancient Buddhist cave paintings and sculptures. These sites are essential for preserving China's cultural heritage and promoting tourism in the region. The Great Green Wall of China fights the expansion of the Gobi Desert. Herders in the Gobi Desert, such as Bai Intag Deli, plant corn in April, with the expectation that they will harvest it in October if the grain survives. As a result of desertification, which is the process by which hospitable and cultivable terrain is converted into the desert, April is also the peak season for sandstorms. These violent storms can strike anywhere from 3 to 10 times in a single month, wreaking havoc on crops and causing damage to infrastructure. Bai Intag Deli makes his home in the Tengger Desert, which is located in Inner Mongolia, China, on the Gobi's southern edge. But the rising frequency and severity of sandstorms are pushing Bai Intag Deli and others who call the region home to face a choice: stay and continue attempting to scrape out a difficult life, or join other climate refugees in seeking sanctuary in cities. It's like in the beginning of the recent movie Interstellar, says Feng Wang, an associate professor at the Institute of Desertification Studies at the Chinese Academy of Forestry. The film Interstellar was released in 2014 and depicts a planet that is becoming increasingly inhospitable due to environmental catastrophes. Feng Wang says that the current situation is similar to the beginning of the film. Sand is blown all over the place, even into the structures, when there are strong gusts. In point of fact, as Wang explains, the documentary has authentic interviews with locals who resided in the northwest of China in the 1980s and 90s, a time period in which a severe drought compelled many residents to flee the region in search of better employment opportunities in the metropolis. Desertification is caused by a number of factors, the most important of which are deforestation, overgrazing, and the misuse of water resources by people. In China, the issue has been manifesting itself in four distinct forms: aeolian desertification, which refers to the destruction of vegetation that is followed by wind erosion; water and soil loss, which is caused by water erosion and is primarily distributed in the Loess Plateau; salinization, which is the result of ineffective management of water resources; and rock desertification, which is found in the karst region of southwestern China. At the moment, desertification affects approximately 400 million people in China and takes up 27.4% of the country's total land area. According to Wang, the primary challenge that China faces is an excessive population living in the drylands that exceed the ecological carrying and repairing capability of this area. Yet, China is not the only country facing this issue. According to Wang, desertified regions make up 24.1% of the surface of the globe and are home to around 16% of the total population of the world. The United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification, or the UNCCD, published a report in 2013 stating that desertification, land degradation, and droughts have all intensified globally over the 20th and 21st centuries, notably in arid, semi-arid, and dry subhumid areas. Due to factors such as erosion and land degradation, the Earth has lost one-third of its arable land over the course of the past 40 years. In an interview with Al Jazeera in 2016, Monique Barbut, the executive secretary of the UNCCD, stated that despite some rising awareness, the rate of land loss is becoming more severe rather than less severe. Barbut stated, "Every year we lose more territory," and he was right. Because more than 12 million hectares of land are disappearing from our planet each year, the current predicament is only becoming worse. The mighty verdant barrier. At the very least, since the 1950s, when the Young People's Republic embarked on a nation-building frenzy, raising farms and wildlands to develop cities and create infrastructure to support a burgeoning population, China has been fighting a large-scale battle against desertification. Because of human activity, a large portion of the land was not protected against the effects of wind erosion and deposition from the deserts that surrounded it. According to Xian Zhu, a professor at the Chinese Academy of Sciences and a major authority on aeolian desertification in China, it's like what the American farmer did to generate the Dust Bowl in the 1930s. The Dust Bowl occurred in the U.S. in the 1930s. The Chinese government took significant action to address the issue in 1978, when it launched the 3 North Shelter Belt Project. This project was a national ecological engineering initiative that called for the planting of millions of trees along the 2,800-mile border of northern China's encroaching desert, with the goal of increasing the world's forest cover by 10%. The project, which is also known as the Great Green Wall, isn't scheduled to be completed until 2050. Nonetheless, more than 66 billion trees have already been planted. Despite this, there are others who believe the Great Green Wall was not the optimal solution. With the Great Green Wall, people are planting lots of trees in big ceremonies to stem desertification, but then later no one takes care of them and they die, says Jennifer L. Turner, director of the China Environment Forum at the Woodrow Wilson Center in Washington, D.C. With the Great Green Wall, people are planting lots of trees in big ceremonies to stem desertification, says Jennifer L. Turner. In addition, afforestation can cause the carrying capacity of the land to be exceeded, which will inevitably lead to the death of the trees if they are not constantly tended to by humans. People swarmed into the natural sand dunes and the Gobi to plant trees, which has produced a quick fall in soil moisture and the groundwater table, adds Zhu. This has created an alarming decrease in the temperature of the groundwater. In point of fact, it will lead to the development of deserts in certain locations. China has made additional initiatives to combat the spread of deserts, in addition to the construction of the Great Green Wall. In addition, beginning in the early 2000s, a series of regulations were passed that specifically targeted the issue. These laws included initiatives to restore some agriculture and grazing lands to a more natural condition, consisting of woods or grasslands. The government of China's forests began conducting nationwide monitoring of the extent of desertification in 1994. According to the findings of their research, Deserts in China grew in size from 1994 to 99, but then they began to shrink from 1999 to 2014. Nonetheless, there are some experts who have cast doubt on the veracity of the data provided by the state, citing methodological errors and contradictions as their reasons. The repercussions of a changing climate. Desertification is expected to become more widespread in some regions as the climate of the Earth continues to shift, particularly in places where the weather will become hotter and drier. According to Sun Qingwei, a former China water and energy expert at the Woodrow Wilson Institute, already in the northwest of China, lower precipitation and increasing temperatures are leading grasslands to be less productive. This trend is expected to continue in the next decades. According to Qingwei, global warming produces more unstable conditions for human activity and for the biosphere. Because of its extreme aridity, the northwest region of China is one of the regions that are most vulnerable to the effects of global warming. The average annual precipitation in the majority of its locations is less than 100 millimeters. Qingwei asserts that it is possible to halt the spread of desertification. According to Qingwei, the term desertification denotes that it is produced by human action, which goes beyond the resilience of the environment and the ecosystem. Both the environment and the ecosystem can be restored if the human action is eliminated and sufficient time is allowed to pass. Bayan Tigdeli is contemplating his future as he returns to the Tengger. Of course, it would be lovely to live somewhere that doesn't get sandstorms, he says. This location does not have a particularly picturesque appearance, but in the future there will be more people to socialize with, and the view will be improved. He is not going to give up just yet in the expectation that the circumstances in and around his house will get better. What if China converts all desert into green? Positive consequences. China's plan to convert its deserts into green farms has several positive consequences. Firstly, it will promote sustainable development in the region. Green farms will help prevent soil erosion and conserve water resources. They will also provide food and income for local communities, contributing to poverty alleviation efforts. Additionally, green farms will help combat climate change by absorbing carbon dioxide emissions. This is a significant step towards achieving China's goal of becoming carbon neutral by 2060. Secondly, the plan will help address the issue of desertification. Desertification is a severe problem in many arid regions of China, including the Gobi Desert. The green farms will stabilize the soil and prevent it from blowing away, which is a common problem in these regions. Green farms will promote biodiversity in the region and provide habitats for wildlife, which will help preserve China's ecological balance. Finally, green farms will create new economic opportunities for local communities. Farmers who work on these farms will be able to sell their products and generate income for their families. Additionally, green farms will create new jobs in the region, which will help stimulate economic growth. Negative consequences. However, China's plan to convert its deserts into green farms has also potentially negative consequences. Firstly, there is the issue of water scarcity. The arid regions in which the deserts are located have limited water resources, and the green farms will require significant amounts of water to grow crops. This may lead to water shortages in the region and exacerbate existing water conflicts. Secondly, the plan may lead to soil salinization. Salinization occurs when the soil becomes too salty due to irrigation with salty water. This can make the soil less fertile and limit the types of crops that can be grown. Salinization is already a significant problem in some of China's arid regions, and green farms may exacerbate this problem. Finally, converting deserts into green farms may lead to a loss of biodiversity in the region. Green farms may replace the natural habitats of certain species, leading to a decline in their populations. This may also affect the overall ecological balance of the region. Additionally, green farms may require the use of fertilizers and pesticides, which may harm local ecosystems. In conclusion, China's plan to convert its deserts into green farms has the potential to bring significant benefits to the region. It will promote sustainable development, combat desertification, and create new economic opportunities. However, it also has potentially negative consequences, including water scarcity, soil salinization, and biodiversity loss. The success of this project will depend on the Chinese government's ability to manage these challenges effectively and implement sustainable practices that minimize negative impacts.